I moved to a town just to forget my ex. My name is Gavin. If anyone asked me what the most impulsive decision of my life was, I wouldn't hesitate to answer. It was the day I deleted every photo with my ex-boyfriend, dropped my plan to study in Seattle, and moved to a small college town in Oregon. All within 2 weeks. Sounds crazy. Honestly, at the time I thought I was crazy too. I was 19, just coming out of the first breakup of my life, with a guy I once thought I'd love for the rest of my youth. His name was Ryan. 3 years together since high school ended with exactly one sentence. I think we should stop.
No fights. No betrayal.
No one did anything wrong. He just fell out of love. People always say a peaceful breakup is easier to bear. That's the biggest lie I've ever heard. At least if Ryan had cheated on me, I'd have had a reason to hate him. Instead, he was still kind, still apologetic, still hugged me one last time, still cried. That broke my heart more than anything else could have. I spent nearly a month just existing. Wake up in the morning, go to class, come home, cry, sleep, repeat. Until one day, my mom came into my room, sat down on the edge of my bed, and asked very softly, "Gavin, how much longer are you going to live like this?" I didn't answer. She stroked my hair. "If this place is hurting you, leaving isn't a bad thing." That sentence was what changed me. 3 weeks later, I enrolled at Cedar Hills University. Not a particularly famous school. In a quiet town surrounded by pine forests and lakes. Nobody here knew me. Nobody knew Ryan. Nobody knew I'd cried so much I couldn't sleep for months. That was exactly what I needed. A fresh start. The day I moved into the dorm, it was drizzling. My dad's pickup truck pulled up in front of Maple Hall. I looked at the rows of maple trees just starting to turn gold. The air smelled of wet wood and coffee, completely different from Seattle. Quieter, slower, gentler. "Will you be okay on your own?" Dad asked. I nodded. "I'll be fine." He hugged me tightly. "If you're not, call me." I smiled. This time I'll be fine. At the time, I really believed it. My dorm room was on the 3rd floor. My roommate hadn't arrived yet. I unpacked my suitcase, hung up my clothes, and put up a few posters of my favorite movies. About an hour later, the door swung open. A guy almost a head taller than me walked in. Broad shoulders, gray hoodie, faded jeans, brown hair, a little long, falling over his forehead. The first thing I noticed wasn't his looks. It was his smile. A smile that made you feel instantly at ease. "You must be Gavin?" I nodded. "And you're Nathaniel." He held out his hand. "Guess we're stuck putting up with each other from today." I laughed. "That's how you introduce yourself? At least it's honest." I shook his hand. His hand was very warm. "Nice to meet you." "Same here." If anyone had told me back then that Nathaniel would change my entire life, I would have laughed in their face. Nathaniel was the type who talked a lot. Within 10 minutes, I already knew. He was born in Colorado. He liked hiking. He hated olives. He was addicted to basketball. He drank more coffee than water. He had a 15-year-old sister. And especially, he absolutely hated waking up early. If I ever get an 8 a.m. class, I'm doomed. Why? Because I'll sleep through it. Set an alarm. I'll just go back to sleep. Set a bunch of alarms. The whole floor will wake up. I burst out laughing. Nathaniel laughed too. His laugh was loud, easy and relaxed. For the first time in months, I laughed without trying to. That evening, the dorm hosted a welcome party for freshmen. Nathaniel grabbed my arm. "Let's go." "I don't like crowds." "Then you definitely need to go." "Why?" "Because if you just stay in the room, you won't know anyone besides me." "I think I'd be fine with that." Nathaniel raised an eyebrow. "That sounds dangerous." I laughed. "I mean, I know." He patted my shoulder. "Come on." The hall was packed. Music, pizza, popcorn, club booths set up everywhere. Nathaniel was as excited as a kid. I just wanted to find some quiet corner. "You're an introvert, huh?" Nathaniel asked. "A little." A little. A lot. Got it. He grabbed 2 cans of soda. Handed me one. It's fine. Just stay next to me. I'll do the talking for both of us. I laughed. That sounds reasonable. All evening, Nathaniel kept introducing me to people. This is Gavin. My quiet but really sweet roommate. I blushed. Hey! Nathaniel was unfazed. What? Don't introduce me like that. I'm just telling the truth. I didn't know how to respond. Near the end of the night, a blonde girl walked up. Nate. Nathaniel turned around. Emily. They hugged. Thought you were going to school somewhere else. Changed my mind last minute. Nathaniel turned to me. This is Gavin. Emily smiled. Boyfriend. Nathaniel and I answered at the same time. No. We looked at each other, then both burst out laughing. Emily shrugged. Just asking. After she left, a brief silence settled between us. Nathaniel scratched the back of his neck. Sorry. For what? I forgot. Forgot what? That you're gay. I froze. How do you know? Nathaniel looked puzzled. There's an LGBT club listed on the dorm housing form. You signed up for it. Yeah. I wasn't trying to read it. Just happened to see it. I looked at him for a few seconds. Does that bother you? Nathaniel blinked. Why would it bother me? Because I'm gay. Nathaniel burst out laughing. Gavin, you think it's 2026 and I'd still be shocked by that? I laughed too. A sense of relief settled in my chest. Nathaniel nudged my shoulder. Besides, all I care about is whether you snore in your sleep. Whether you like guys. Has nothing to do with splitting the cost of toilet paper. I laughed so hard I almost dropped my can. For the first time since leaving Seattle, I felt like I had truly turned a new page in my life. I had no idea that the guy laughing beside me would become the person who'd make me believe in love again. But before that could happen, I still had to learn how to forget my ex. And that turned out to be much harder than I thought. The next morning, I was jolted awake by a piercing sound. Beep, beep, beep. I sat up groggily, eyes barely open. The alarm clock on Nathaniel's desk was blaring, but its owner was still curled up in his blanket, sleeping soundly as if he hadn't heard a thing. I checked the clock. 7:05. Our first class started at 8. I got out of bed and gently shook his shoulder. Nathaniel. No response. Nate. Still silent. I shook a little harder. Hey, you said you oversleep. Turns out you weren't kidding. Nathaniel mumbled something unintelligible and pulled the blanket over his head. I laughed. In the end, I had to open the curtains. Morning light flooded the room. Nathaniel scrunched up his face. The light! He groaned as if being tortured. Class at 8. I know. You know? And you're still sleeping? 5 more minutes. I heard that 10 minutes ago. Nathaniel cracked one eye open and looked at me. You really are a kind person. Why? Because you haven't splashed water on my face yet. I'm considering it. He shot up immediately. Okay, I'm up. I burst out laughing. After nearly half an hour of struggle, the two of us finally made it to the dining hall. Nathaniel took a bite of his sandwich while yawning. I hate mornings. I noticed. What about you? I like early mornings. Nathaniel looked at me like I just confessed to being an alien. Seriously. I like how quiet the whole world feels. I just like sleeping. Fair enough. We both laughed. It was just an ordinary conversation. But looking back later, I'd realized something. Feelings don't always start with dramatic, heart-fluttering moments. Sometimes they start with small talk over breakfast every morning. The first few weeks at Cedar Hills passed faster than I expected. I slowly got used to my class schedule, the sprawling campus, the little coffee shop across from the library, the path lined with maple leaves leading back to the dorm. And I was also slowly getting used to Nathaniel. We did almost everything together. Breakfast, classes, study groups, grocery runs, movies, even doing laundry together on weekends. One day, in the laundry room, Nathaniel picked up my sweater. You wash this in hot water? Yeah. Don't. Why? It'll shrink. Really? I've ruined 3 of mine that way. Why haven't you learned your lesson yet? Nathaniel shrugged. Humanity must make sacrifices for science. I think you're sacrificing because you're too lazy to read the instructions. Also true. Nathaniel had a strange ability. He made every place livelier. Even the most boring tasks became fun. Buying toilet paper.
Buying instant noodles.
Taking out the trash. All of it could turn into an adventure with Nathaniel around. As for me, I started laughing more. One evening, I suddenly realized I hadn't thought about Ryan all day. I sat quietly for a few minutes, then smiled. Maybe I really was getting better. Then came an afternoon in early October. I was sitting alone in the library when my phone buzzed. A text from Ryan. How have you been lately? Just 6 words. But it felt like someone had squeezed my heart. I stared at the screen for a long time. Didn't reply. 10 minutes later, another text. I just want to know if you're okay. I turned off my phone. My mind was a mess. Old memories crashed over me like an unexpected wave. Holding hands. Our dates. Our first kiss. The promise to go to the same college. Everything came back with frightening clarity. Found you. Nathaniel's voice came from behind me. I jumped. What's wrong with you? Nothing. Nathaniel sat down across from me. You're a terrible liar. I stayed silent. He didn't push. He just quietly slid a hot chocolate toward me. Bought this for you. Why? Figured you needed it today. I looked at the steaming cup. My throat tightened. Nathaniel waited. I just got a text from my ex. It was the first time I told him about Ryan. Nathaniel didn't interrupt, didn't judge, didn't tell me to be strong. He just listened quietly. When I finished, he asked exactly one question. Do you still love him? Took me a long time to answer. I don't know. Nathaniel nodded. Then don't reply to the text. Why? Because if you don't even know what your own heart wants, don't let someone else decide for you. I looked at Nathaniel. The sentence was simple, but it calmed me down. I'll think about it. Yeah. Nathaniel smiled gently.
No rus.
That night, we sat watching a movie in our room. When the main character's confession failed, Nathaniel sighed. Love is such a hassle. I laughed. Have you ever been in love? Nathaniel didn't answer right away. Yeah. What happened? Didn't work out. She turned you down? Nathaniel looked at the screen.
No.
I never told them. Why not? I was scared. You? Yeah. I thought you weren't scared of anything. Nathaniel laughed softly. Everyone's scared of something. I didn't ask further. I just assumed the person he once liked must have been a very special girl. I had no idea at all that I'd guessed wrong from the very start. That night, before going to sleep, I opened my chat history with Ryan again. My finger hovered over the screen. Then finally, I pressed delete conversation. Not because I'd fallen out of love, but because, for the first time, I wanted to try moving forward. I didn't know what the future held, but at the very least, I didn't want to keep living in the past. And while I was trying to learn how to let go of one person, I had no idea that someone else was slowly making his way into my heart. Through patience, gentleness, and the most ordinary things. It's just that, at the time, neither Nathaniel nor I called it love yet. November arrived, bringing the first cold winds. The maple leaves on campus had turned deep red. Every morning walking from the dorm to the lecture hall, I crunched over layers of dry leaves underfoot. Nathaniel always walked a few steps behind me, not because he was lazy, but because he had a habit of bending down to pick up oddly shaped leaves. Are you opening a museum? I asked, watching him tuck a bright red leaf into his notebook. Nathaniel laughed.
No.
Then what for? Keeping it. As a keepsake? Yeah. Why? He looked at the leaf in his hand. Because this autumn won't come back again. I was struck silent. Nathaniel often said strange things like that. But the more I thought about it, the more it made sense. No 2 autumns are alike. No one gets to be 19 twice. Midway through the semester, Assignments started piling up. Nathaniel and I practically lived in the library. One evening, the clock read nearly 11. I slumped over my desk. I can't read another word. Nathaniel was still typing on his laptop. A little more. Aren't you tired? Yeah. Then why keep going? Because if I turn in a blank page tomorrow, the professor will be even more tired. I laughed. What kind of logic is that? Student logic. Right then, Nathaniel's stomach growled. I looked at him. He looked at me. We both burst out laughing. 10 minutes later, we sneaked over to the vending machine. Nathaniel bought 2 chocolate bars. You like the almond flavor, right? I paused. How do you remember that? You ate it 3 times last week. I don't even remember that. Nathaniel shrugged. I'm pretty good at remembering random stuff. I unwrapped the chocolate. Something warm settled in my chest. Having someone remember even the smallest things about me turned out to be a very special feeling. By the end of the month, the school held an autumn festival. Strings of yellow lights hung across campus. There were game booths, food trucks, live music, and even a temporary ice rink. Nathaniel excitedly dragged me from one end to the other. You're such a kid. I just know how to enjoy life. What's the difference? There isn't one. We played the ring toss. Nathaniel missed all 5 throws. I landed mine on the first try. The prize was a brown teddy bear. Nathaniel clutched his chest. Not fair. Why? This is your first time playing. Just lucky. I object. Objection overruled. I handed the bear over. For you. Nathaniel's eyes widened. Really? Yeah. Why? Because you like it. He took the bear and smiled brightly. It's going on my bed. Up to you. If I ever get married, I'm still keeping it. I laughed. Hope your wife doesn't get jealous of a teddy bear. Nathaniel looked at the bear for a moment, then said quietly, If I have someone, I think they'd understand. I didn't notice the look on his face just then. If I'd looked more closely, maybe I would have realized something. After the festival, we decided to try the ice rink. I've never skated before, I admitted. Nathaniel smiled. Lucky for you. Why? I know how. 10 minutes later, I fell, then fell again, then kept falling. Nathaniel laughed until he had tears in his eyes. Had enough laughing? Sorry. He kept laughing. But you look like a baby deer learning to walk. I'm leaving. Don't. Nathaniel skated closer. He held out his hand. Take it. I can manage. You just fell 4 times. 5. Right? Then you should definitely hold on. I reluctantly placed my hand in his. Nathaniel's hand was always so warm. He slowly pulled me forward. Don't look down. That's hard. Look at me. I looked up. The distance between us was less than an arm's length. Take it slow. I'm scared. It's okay. I've got you. Maybe it was the cold, or maybe something else. My heart started beating faster than usual. I quickly looked away. Must just be embarrassment, right? Just embarrassment. A few days later, I got a call from my mom. How are you doing? I'm great. Really? Really? You sound a lot happier than before. I smiled. Maybe. Let me guess. It's because of your roommate? I laughed. How'd you know? Every time you mention Nathaniel, your voice changes. I paused slightly. Changes how? Warmer. I shook my head. You're overthinking it. Maybe. Mom laughed. But I'm glad you're smiling again. After hanging up, I sat quietly for a long time. Was it really true that every time I mentioned Nathaniel, I smiled? The week before Thanksgiving break, almost half the dorm went home. Nathaniel was also planning to go back to Colorado. The night before he left, he was packing his clothes when he asked, Not going back to Seattle? I shook my head. Flights are expensive. Want to come to my place instead? I looked up. What? My parents would probably love it. You've only known me a few months. So, I already think of you like family. That sentence stopped me cold. It had been so long. since anyone had called me family so naturally. I smiled. Thanks. But some other time. Nathaniel nodded. Okay. The next morning he got in a car to the airport. The dorm suddenly felt strangely quiet. I opened the door to our room. The bed across from mine was empty. The teddy bear I'd given him still sat neatly on his pillow. I laughed. Idiot. It had only been a few hours. Yet the room already felt so much bigger. That evening, I picked up my phone to text Nathaniel, then stopped. Do I really miss him this fast? I asked myself. Maybe it was just because I'd gotten used to having someone laughing and talking beside me all the time, right? Just used to it. I still believed that, until my phone buzzed. A text from Nathaniel. Made it home. Oh, and one more thing. Don't stay up late gaming. If I'm not there to remind you, you'll forget to sleep. Guaranteed. I laughed out loud, then replied right away. I know. And remember to hug the bear while you sleep. Less than 10 seconds later, Nathaniel sent back a photo. The teddy bear was lying on his bed back home, with a short caption. He's standing guard for you. I stared at the screen for a long time. A strange feeling crept quietly into my heart. Warm, peaceful, and a little bit of anticipation for the day Nathaniel would come back to school. But I still hadn't realized it. Sometimes the scariest thing isn't falling for someone. It's your heart changing before your mind catches up. Thanksgiving break only lasted a few days. But for me, it was enough time to realize Nathaniel had become a bigger part of my life than I'd ever thought. Not some intense, overwhelming longing. Just small gaps. Mornings with no one complaining about having to wake up early. No more aimless guitar strumming every night. No one standing in front of the fridge asking me that familiar question. Gavin, you think pizza is still good after 3 days? I always answered.
No.
And Nathaniel always ate it anyway, and never once got a stomachache. That made him insufferably proud for the rest of the semester. The day Nathaniel came back to school, I was sitting at my desk when I heard the door open. I'm back. His voice was as full of energy as ever. I turned around. Nathaniel was dragging a large suitcase and 2 paper bags. Welcome back. Did you miss me? The question came so fast I froze. Nathaniel laughed. Just kidding. Look at your face. I let out a breath. You jerk. I know. He set a paper bag on my desk. Present. For me. My mom made pumpkin pie. She said if my roommate can put up with me, he deserves a reward. I laughed out loud. Your mom's funny. Nathaniel shrugged. She also said next time I have to bring you home for sure. I held the box of pie in my hands. For the first time in a long while, I felt remembered by a family that wasn't even my own. The final weeks of the semester were always the busiest. Essays, presentations, final exams. The 2 of us practically lived in the library. One night, when the clock read nearly 1 a.m., I yawned long and hard. I give up. Nathaniel looked at me. 3 pages left. I'll finish tomorrow. You'll forget. I won't forget. You will. Nathaniel pulled out his phone, opened his photo album, and showed it to me. Remember this? I looked at the screen. A photo of a cup of coffee. What? You said you'd post it on Instagram. And then, that was 3 months ago. I laughed. Fine. I forget things. I know. I'll remember for you. I rested my chin on my hand and looked at him. Nathaniel. Thank you. For what? For always paying attention to me. Nathaniel suddenly went quiet. His gaze lingered on me longer than usual. Yeah. He answered with just that one small word. But for some reason, I noticed his face had turned a little red. Final exams ended on a snowy afternoon. It was the first time I'd seen Cedar Hills blanketed in white. The whole campus looked like a painting. Nathaniel burst out of the exam hall. Freedom! He threw both arms up. I laughed. You look like you just got released from prison. Better than that. I swear I won't open a book for at least 2 weeks. Don't get ahead of yourself. Why? New semester next month. Nathaniel clutched his head. Gavin, you really know how to ruin a mood. That evening, we decided to walk around the lake behind the school. The lake's surface had a thin layer of ice. Rows of yellow lights reflected off the water. The space was so quiet you could hear the snow falling. Nathaniel suddenly asked, "Do you believe in fate?" I thought about it for a few seconds. I don't know. Why? If I believe in it, then it feels like everything is predetermined. But if I don't, then beautiful encounters feel too random. Nathaniel smiled. I like that answer. What about you? I think. He looked out toward the lake. People meet each other for all kinds of reasons. Some just pass by. Some stay. Some change you. I asked softly, "What about us?" Nathaniel turned to face me. His blue eyes reflected the lights. I hope we're the kind that stays. My heart skipped a beat, not because of what he said, but because of the way Nathaniel looked at me, as if he truly meant it. Winter break arrived. This time, I decided to go back to Seattle. Before I boarded the plane, Nathaniel hugged me tightly. Merry Christmas. You too. Don't disappear on me. I'm just going home. Nathaniel laughed. I mean, remember to text. Okay. Every single day. Every day. Yeah. I'll check in. You really do sound like my mom. That's a compliment. That's teasing. I'll take both. Back in Seattle, everything felt familiar. The old streets, the old coffee shop, the park where Ryan and I used to go on dates. I stood by the wooden bench near the lake for a long time. Just then, a familiar voice came from behind me. Gavin. I turned around. Ryan. The same blonde hair. The same gentle smile. Only, the feeling in my chest wasn't the same anymore. It's been a while, Ryan said. Yeah. How are you? Pretty good. We sat down on the bench. There was a slight awkwardness in the air. Ryan looked at me. You've changed. Really? You smile more now. I stayed quiet. Maybe he was right. Ryan lowered his head. I used to worry a lot. I was afraid you'd hate me forever. I used to. I admitted honestly. But not anymore. Ryan smiled faintly. Good. You deserve to be happy. I smiled too. So do you. For the first time since our breakup, our conversation wasn't painful anymore. No more blame. Just two people who once loved each other, now sincerely wishing one another well. As we stood up to leave, Ryan suddenly asked, Do you have someone new? I was about to answer right away. But then, a face suddenly came to mind. Nathaniel. I startled. Why him? Ryan saw my reaction and laughed. I get it now. What? There's someone making you hesitate. That's a good thing. Ryan held out his hand. Don't let that person slip away. I shook his hand. Be happy. You too. I watched Ryan walk away. This time I didn't look back. Not out of indifference, but because I knew. The chapter named Ryan had truly closed. It's just that I still didn't have the courage to open a new one yet, because I was starting to suspect that the person making my heart race again was the very same guy waiting for my texts in another state. And that realization made me feel happy and terrified all at once.